What is up, my pretties? It's the Lion Queen. Welcome to episode 273 of Shadows and Pretties. So the last episode of Shadows and Pretties we talked about was called The Running Man, which of course that's a Stephen King film that I reviewed, the last episode. So today in this episode, I am going to be reviewing another movie that came out. Another Stephen King related film is called Stand By Me. Now, some of you guys may have remembered this movie, some of you guys may not. So, what is this movie called Stand By Me? Well, it's a 1986 movie. So, the movie came out in 1986. So, this film is a pretty interesting comedy. Well, not comedy, but it's an interesting independent coming of age drama film, which I think it's pretty neat and well made. So, this is based on Stephen King's 1982 novel called The Body. With the title diverting from the song written by the same name by Ben E. King. So, I guess with that being said, it's a pretty interesting film. I mean, it's based on the book called The Body by Stephen King. If you want to call it Stand By Me, you can. If you want to call it The Body, but the movie version, that's fine with me too. I mean, this one does have some actors that I have no idea who they are, with the exception of John Cusack. John Cusack plays as Dennis or Denny Lanshin, or also known as Gordy's older brother in this movie. So the only actor I do know is John Cusack. He's in this movie. So the film was adapted from Stephen King's novel called The Body. And of course, I don't know why they changed it to Stand By Me, but I think it might be maybe a better opportunity to do it, or it was a better title that made more sense. But yeah. So, The Body or Stand By Me is pretty much, a good movie by Stephen King, although I'm kind of confused on why they changed the title. Just like with Silver Bullet and Cycle of the Werewolf, I don't know why Cycle of the Werewolf movie was titled as Silver Bullet, but maybe there was something about it that made more sense. So, Stand By Me, the film started being principal photography or shooting of the film began on June 17th, 1985, and it had ended on August 23rd of 1985. So the parts of the film were shot in Brownsville, Oregon, which stood a fictional town of Castle Rock, which I will be getting to that in the movie in a bit. So I could definitely say there is definitely a lot of great scenes in it. So it's a pretty good film. I personally really thought it was neat, especially with, the film and stuff. It's a pretty interesting thing. Now, surprisingly, this film, Stand By Me, is referenced in games such as Pokemon Red, Green, and Blue, Yellow for the Game Boy, as well as the Game Boy Advance remakes, Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, which is interesting. I didn't even know it had a, mention or anything, but that's pretty cool. So, the bridge on the road leading to Brownsville, Oregon, which was used for, some for the for the penultimate scenes, as well as the McCloud River Railroad Restal Bridge across Lake Burton in California, which was interesting. So, I guess with that being said, I think I should go ahead and basically get started on the film, especially for those who have not seen the movie in like a really long time. Most of you guys probably have remembered seeing that. So basically on this movie. So I'm going to go ahead and explain about this. So yeah, especially for those who have not seen the movie in a long time, and for those who've never seen it, or for those who would like a refresher on it. So yeah. Anyways, I guess with that being said, and that being the case, I think we should go ahead and let's begin. So, basically, the plot of this movie is about writer Gordon or Gordy the Lachance, who reads a newspaper article from a fatal stabbing to which he recalls an incident from when he was around 12 years old, when his best friend Chris Chambers and two other friends, Teddy Dutchamp and Vern Tesso, They went searching for the body of a boy that went missing named Ray Brower near the town of Castle Rock in Oregon during Labor Day weekend in 1959. So, as a child, Gordy's parents largely ignored him due to the grief over the death of his older brother, Denny. So, while Vern overhears his older brother Billy talking with his friend Charlie about finding the body, Billy does not want to confirm the police about it because it could draw the attention of a car theft and Charlie committed. So, when Vern tells his friends about the body, the boys, hoping to become local heroes, decide to go and search for it. However, after Chris steals his father's pistol, he and Gordy return to the local hoodlums, or Ace, Murray, and Chris's older brother for Eyeball. Ace threatens Chris to light a cigarette and steal Gordy's these Yankees cap, to which it was a gift from Danny. So the boys begin their trip after stopping at the junkyard for water. They get caught and they're trespassing over by an owner named Milo Pressman and his dog Chopper. So once they escape over the fence, Milo calls Teddy's mentally ill veterinarian father a loony and refers to how he almost burned Teddy's ear off. Enraged, Teddy tries to attack Milo, but the other boys eventually restrains him and the four continue on their hike. And when Chris encourages Gordy to fulfill his potential as a writer despite his father's disapproval, that's while crossing a railroad bridge. Gordy and Vern are nearly killed by an approaching train, but they jump off the tracks and escape from serious injury. Later on in the movie, as the boys' camp goes on, Gordy tells the fictional story about David Lardlass Hogan, who the obese boy who is constantly bullied, seeking payback, as he enters a pie eating contest and throws up deliberately, inducing a mass vomiting among everyone there. So later that night, Chris complains to Gordy that he hates being associated with his family's reputation. He eventually admits to stealing the school milk for money, but he is confessed to a teacher yet, who is still suspended as the teacher kept quiet and pocketed the money. Devastated by the teacher's betrayal, the Chris eventually breaks down and cries, aka having a breakdown. The next day, the boys wade across the swamp, discovering its fulfilled leeches. Gordy faints after finding another of his underwear. So after more hiking, the boys locate Ray Brower's body, and the discovery traumatizes Gordy, who asks Chris why Denny had to die and cries about his father hating him. So that's when Chris comforts Gordy and asserts him that his father simply does not want to know him. Ace and his gang later on arrive to claim the body and threaten to hurt the boys if they stay. But when Chris insults Ace and does not go back down, Ace draws a switchblade and Gordy gets the gun, fires a warning shot, and then stands beside Chris while pointing a gun at Ace. Ace demands the weapon, but Gordy refuses while insulting and threatening him. Ace and his gang now revenge and won't leave. The boys decided it would be wrong to exploit the Brower's death. So instead, the report of the discovery via anonymous phone call, they walk back to Castle Rock, and that's when they part ways. So, fast forward back into the present day, Gordy is fishing a memoir experience, and he notes that Vern and Teddy are separated from him, and Chris is in junior high. Vern married after high school and had 4 children, and become a forklift operator, while Teddy tries to get into the army but failed due to his damaged ear and poor eyesight, and instead of ended up serving time in jail. Chris took the college prep courses, and Gordy, and despite them struggling, they later become a lawyer and the two eventually begin drifting apart. While recently attempting to break up a fight at the restaurant, Chris unfortunately gets stabbed to death, while Gordy writes that although he had not seen Chris in over a decade, he will still miss him forever. He ends the story with, and I quote, I never had any friends later on like the ones I had when I was 12. Jesus, does everyone? Before going outside to play with his son, and that's how the movie ends. Now, I did not even know that John Cusack was in this film until I actually, watched the movie, and I'm like, oh, John Cusack is actually in this movie, and that was actually something I did not even know. And that is really surprising because I never expected John Cusack to be in this movie. Even though this movie came out in 1986, I personally think this film is really enjoyable, especially for those who are fans of Stephen King. This wasn't so scary, but it does have some unnerving moments in it. So you could definitely say it does have, moments in the story that it, it goes all over the place, from it's a pretty good story. I personally like John Cusack in this movie. I know he was in a couple other movies, such as one of them being what was it? Oh yeah, 1408. I think that was another Stephen King movie he's also in, which I do plan to do that review, as well as I think another Stephen King movie called Cell. I believe that's another one that he's also in. I'm gonna have to double check because I haven't watched the movie in a really long time. So, yeah. Anyways, with that being said, and that being the case, I recommend this movie. I really recommend it if you have not seen this movie. So, I mean, even though it was made in the 80s and filmed around that time, I still personally like this story. I mean, the movie is pretty good, and I have not read the book. So, yeah, I've not read the book in a really long time. So, but despite that, I like it. I personally really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good story. It's really well made in detail, and it's awesome. I really enjoyed this. So, do I recommend this movie? Yes. I recommend this movie to anybody who wants to see a good Stephen King movie. This is definitely one of them. Even though it came out, in the 19 well, yeah, in the 19 you know, 80s, I highly recommend this. So, I guess with that being the case, and with that being said, like I'm just gonna say before, and like I'll say again, this is just simply my own personal opinion. And if you disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions in regards to these movies. So yeah. Anyways, I guess with that being said, and that being the case, yeah. What do you guys think of this movie? Let me know what you all think in the comments below. And yet again, if I'm missing something, please let me know what it is in the comments below. I'm the Lion Queen. I want to thank you so much for watching today's video. And if you're new to my channel, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Ring the bell for notifications to when I upload so that way you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, yeah, if you want to go follow me on DeviantArt, link to that will be in the About page section of this channel, so you guys can go check it out. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter as well. Link to that will also be in the About page section of the channel. Also, if you are interested in subscribing to my backup channel known as Miss Dark Shigo, link to that will also be in the About page section of this channel, so you guys can go and subscribe to my backup if you haven't. So, I guess with that being said, that's pretty much all I have to say. If I'm missing anything, please let me know what it is in the comments below. But I think I pretty much covered everything up. So, I guess with that being said, want to see you. I'll see you guys all next time, and I want to hear what you guys think of this film. Let me know what it is in the comments, and I will be seeing you guys all in the next video. Peace out, and like always, I'll be seeing you all in the next video.